wanted to know which planet was causing your suffering? How about Earth?
Hey everyone, Granblue here, back with a new Granblue Fantasy Relink video. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about my experience with Lucilius, how I feel about his boss fight, and whether or not it piques my interest back in Granblue Fantasy Relink. If you're trying to blind prog Lucilius, don't watch this video. I included a part before the intro, before I started recording, where I was like, I put myself dying, and I was like, kind of upset about the death, and that's the run right before this one. But then I realized that people probably want to play the fight themselves with the blind progging, so, I took it off. So, there's a disclaimer. If you don't want to see any spoilers about the fight, click off now before the Grand Cipher hits Lucilius's head. Anyways, if you're still here, you can see that in my little intro bit, I don't even have BIS bot gear. My bots have pretty good sigils, but you can see that I have Zeta and Rakam not even close to maxed out Terminus stats, so this fight probably is a lot harder than it should have been for me, since I'm playing with two not full power bot AIs. And of course the bots are pretty good at dodging. I think in this replay, my Rakam AI ends up creeping me a lot, but they're like essentially immortal for the most part besides the Rakam AI, so most of my deaths are my fault. And of course the DPS is kind of lacking, but in the end I will say that it's not the DPS's fault that I struggle so much, it's definitely just my inability to play the fight properly and how messy the fight feels. So just from the very start, this fight is really hard to see in general because I'm playing a very melee character. I have to not only see where all the balls are going, I have to see what the boss is doing, I have to see my own cooldowns and kind of gauge whether or not my character can press the buttons. So this fight is really annoying on Captain because I can't hit him with anything, and I have to play up close and super melee where I can't see half his mechanics or where the mines are, and really what even his effects are, because not only is my hitbox covering the boss, but occasionally there's the effects from, Eugen covering it, there's Zeta occasionally doing stuff, and the boss is really small, like it's really hard to see anything. And then I got told just like 30 minutes ago that apparently your head has a hitbox, so when the orbs fall from the sky, like the odds I just get killed by an orb being in a different place because they fall at different speeds will really just bonk me and get me killed, because I don't realize the orb that's to the slight left of Lucilius is slightly lower than I'm used to, so I don't dodge in time, so I get killed, and it's an entire bag of worms. But basically, even with all my complaints about like fight visibility and also Captain being nerfed super hard right before this patch, and how bad she feels to play, like you can see that I didn't go for any skills until Zeta used her SBA, because this boss just does not stop moving. This boss will teleport, like I'll break him, use a link attack, I'll charge my Power Raise plus plus with quick charge, and before my Power Raise plus plus even comes close to hitting Lucilius, he's long gone. I can't use the rotor bug, which is honestly one of the faster casting bugs in the game, because again, I'll cast the rotor bug, and by the time I hit Overdrive Surge, he's long gone. And now that I'm looking at the footage, there is a very good chance I can be spamming Reagan Leaf over and over again, which is totally fine. It doesn't really matter that Captain had their arts stuff reworked, because that would have been true for the previous fight, and maybe that would have made my life way easier, but in the end, it's like a really small optimization for a fight that I really just had to hunker down and learn all the mechanics for. And even when I knew the mechanics, my bots would still grief me, or the boss would be too hard to see, or there's a lot of things going. Like this boss is so painful. Like the bots on the circle square don't realize that you can't chase the circles, because the circles will outrun you. Like the circles are just slightly faster than you run, and there's no character in the game that has more or less speed than anyone else, so you just can't get to the circle if you run straight at it. So if you kind of try to leave it to the bots, you will lose a mechanic, because the bots will never catch up if they're improperly positioned, and then you have to restart the run because you've taken a massive HP down. And this Holy Wings mechanic is possibly the worst designed mechanic in the game, because you know that these developers have had to design this to be killable with bots, because obviously I cleared this boss with bots, and they're not even fully geared bots. And this mechanic alone made this fight so incredibly annoying, because it is pure luck It is pure luck whether or not you can clear this with bots, because the bots, maybe they'll be attacking an orb. Oh, but then a laser goes through them so they can no longer hit the orb. Maybe the bots will just not be on the orb for some reason because they bug out and group on you. Maybe the bots will just be like, you know, I'm a pacifist today, I won't attack the orb. Again, lasers in the way, and maybe you're just unlucky and the orbs just don't spawn where they need to spawn. So this specific mechanic, like, this is a clear, probably because this mechanic went super well for me. Like, I was surprised that I cleared it there. And then everything else past that point is honestly a skill issue, besides the main auto attack part because of how unclear everything is. And I think at some point I was hitting the dirt a lot and griefing my critical timers. So I don't know. This boss is probably gonna be really fun to play with friends, but unfortunately my friends all have their own group because they chatted about it, and obviously I kept playing and I kept AFKing, so I think they were just assuming I was fine with not playing in a group, which is totally fair. Like, I don't really blame them for that. And so I wouldn't really have anyone to prog with because this boss is just so overwhelming. Like, you saw how many times I got killed by random auto, random skills. I can't imagine taking a friend who like stopped really playing the game, who doesn't have flight over fight properly geared up, who doesn't have nimble onslaught properly geared up, who doesn't have, you know, improved dodge at level 15. It's really tough for me to imagine that those type of players who didn't continue grinding for all their bots and like has all the gear in the world will really enjoy trying to clear trying to kill Lucilius. I almost said Sandolphin, because like it's just, there's just so much going on and every hitbox is so unclear to the point where I had to give into the evil and use flight over fight. So honestly, the more I think about it, the less I have a problem with the fight itself. I think I just had a long week at work, and so I'm just like kind of more annoyed than usual, because after I cleared the boss I was like, oh wow, like that actually was kind of fun. But during those 3 hours I was having no fun. Well, I was having a lot of fun because the boss is visually appealing. Like the first hour I was playing this boss, I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like the voice acting is really good, the effects are really cool, the mechanics are a pain in my butt, but at least it's kind of fun trying to figure out a new boss. And then in the second hour, that's when I realized, wow, my character is terrible at this boss. And then third hour, I was like trying to fine tune everything, and I was like, okay, I'll go flight over fight. Like, it's my bad. I have to cheese this boss to clear it with non-perfect bots. Like, that's just how it is. Honestly, pretty understandable that I have to resort to playing a cheesy defensive build because my bots aren't fully leveled. I'm sure that if I didn't have that problem, the boss would be way easier. You can see that Rakam went down to basically nothing. I think he might have dodged into one of the landmines. That's another thing. These bots do not care about landmines. Again, not really complaining. Well, I am complaining a lot about this because these bots got me killed so often because they would dodge into a landmine, and then I'm like, the reason why I die so often to mechanics is because when there's landmines out, I'm actually looking for my bots more than I'm looking at Lucilius, because I've died more often. Like, I've had more bad runs to a bot triggering a landmine and killing me than I had to Lucilius hitting me with a random attack, because when the bot hits the mine, they like run away from you and they don't res you quickly, whereas if you die to a mechanic that's like in that phase, the bots are usually pretty good about resing you. And then, yeah, this Final Rebellion thing is also a total pain in the ass. I don't know how I got tagged by that. I blame the Rakam bot again. I don't know if that was Rakam or Wigan next to me, but I blame one of the old men. And the reason why this phase is annoying is because I don't know why I didn't hit the res potion, because I think you have to hit the res potion in this phase because the bots will never resurrect you. But it's this specific phase that made me feel like I was forced to use flight or fight, because there's just so much going on. Like, the circles are going on, the laser will like curve around you and hit you randomly. It's really obnoxious. And again, I was doing this blind prog. I'm sure I could have watched a video from a much more experienced Granblue Fantasy Relink YouTuber, or like someone who data mined it to explain it. Like, that would have saved me like an hour and a half of trouble, honestly. But I thought I was told in the comments on my whining video last week, like, oh yeah, like this boss will be a total challenge. And I guess it was true, but I'm also thinking, like, if I had geared properly, he probably would have been so much easier and probably not as much of a challenge as first claimed. And obviously, as someone who's like trying to find enjoyment, that's why I didn't go for it. But honestly, you know, like, in the end, the boss is fun. I have to kill him, what, 20 times to get all the sigils I need from him, and then I never have to look at him again, which is very disappointing. 20 kills with bots each run, if I never die again, is what, 15 minutes? That's 300 minutes of just killing Lucilius alone. That's a long time. That's like 5-6 hours of Lucilius. I think by the time I'm done with that, it'll probably be like 10 hours worth of failures. I'll probably be all done with Lucilius. Like, this boss is more frustrating than anything because his health bar is so large. I do like what they did with I do like what they did though to make him feel like he wasn't as easily cheesed, because he will just snap right out of SBA chains. So I definitely 100% appreciate that. I can try and reserve the last half of this video for things I like, just because I've been a negative Nancy about this game for too much. Also, Rakam died again. Thank you, old man. So yeah, this fight is, again, visually very pleasing. I feel like that I was rewarded a lot for learning the mechanics to a certain extent. Obviously, again, certain things are just really hard to dodge or really hard to care about because there's so much going on. And again, I think it was a big mistake to make Lucilius literally the size of Bazaraga because it's really hard to see him. But it was cool finding something that was more down to earth and that size. Seeing Sandolphin in the corner, even though he's completely useless for the entire fight besides the overburst, which was a very cool moment. It's fun seeing a character that I don't really know in the game just being such a big part of a fight cinematically. And so actually, now that I'm staring at Lucilius more often, can I just ask, what is that design? Why is he Thresh with no armor from League of Legends? Like, his like clone design of Sandolphin looks way better. I don't know what the meaning of this form of Lucilius is, but I think it's a downgrade for sure in design, but it's not a big deal. Anyways, you can see that in this fight, the bots are really having fun griefing me. Zeta just kind of ran an AoE into me, which obviously, again, skill diff, I could have prevented that, but I haven't played this game in 9 days, and I haven't really had to do a very active boss with bots before, so I didn't really know about its patterns until I started playing with these bots. And so, again, it might be fun grinding this guy out more. I probably will end up AFKing to get the Terminus weapons on Zeta and Rakam a bit higher before I try again. But yeah, like, the new year is cool. Having more content is cool. Just getting Sandolphin is pretty lame. Just getting sigils that increase my damage cap is also really lame. And I'm realizing now that the positives I have for this patch are actually very limited. The emotes might be fun. I might buy the emotes because I love cosmetics, and again, I know I can mod them in, but I'd rather just own them. Yeah, I don't know. I could go on and on about my problems with this fight, but I'm really trying to find the happy things that I have. Like, Paradise Lost is cool, the lasers are cool. If I divorce myself from all the annoyances they have with like how terrible the visuals are, like, these lasers are cool. Like, the way they design the graphics on these is really nice. It's like again, to reference League of Legends and Riot, like in Arcane when they have the explosions, that's like half the design of what they did in Arcane and half like anime. That feels like what these are, and it's like very, like, when I could take the time to like ignore my pain and suffering, I really enjoy the aesthetics. Like, again, Lucilius, his base design, Sandolphin, his base design, they're all very cool. Even Lucilius, like, if I don't have to look at his face, this wing setup and like those weapons, like, everything about this guy is just super cool. And then it cuts into him and I'm like, what is that? Like, his boots are cool, his clothing is cool, but what is that? What is he? Oh yeah, this phase, I really hate this phase because the very first time I saw it, I was having a super good run, and then I died because I had no more timer because I was really bad at the mechanics. And then after I saw it once, obviously you just block the first hit or you move out properly, and then everything else on here is so easy. It's like literally just the beginning is so randomly hard, and then everything else is so simple. Like, this boss, I feel like if this boss was more clear, if this boss had more clarity, had less like visual clutter, and my character wasn't terrible for killing it, I probably would have killed this guy in way less time than 3 minutes. But because I can't see anything, because my character's ranged, because my character got nerfed really hard during this patch, because my character has really terrible uptime on this boss, I probably am more frustrated than I should be, because I do think this boss is probably really cool on most of the cast. Just not the character who has forced downtime, can't do any combos without an SBA attached to it, and can't see anything else. And so yeah, I think there's only like a few minutes left, so I'll keep yapping away because obviously I know how to talk. But it's fine. Like, I haven't played the game in 9 days. I think this does give me a very good reason to play again for at least like the weekend, which I am excited to do. Like, I am thinking now that I'm excited to do the boss. I don't know if future Bramflakes in 2 days time will be excited to do the boss. But if I manage to get my friends roped in to clear with me, then I definitely will be excited. So I think that's probably the major thing. Being excited that I can do this with friends eventually. So Lucilius is going down to a final, or to a full burst to Deastrophism. Very, very cinematic. I will say that there was a very funny typo that I found with this guy as we're watching the ending credits. I thought I was going crazy because I think Sandolphin calls this guy like Lou. You'll see it on the text, but he says the completely wrong name, and I was like, have I been saying Lucilius wrong the entire time? Like, is this like a Bernstein Bears? Yeah, see, it says Louilicus. Like, what a typo. I get that there's a lot going on, like maybe Thai games can't do all the proper translations, but having a Louilicus instead of Lucilius made me like, if I could laugh at that moment after my 3 hours of grinding, I would have been like, oh, wow, what a typo. Yeah, hope you guys have a good day or night wherever you are. Hopefully this video and this gameplay and this rant were interesting to watch, just because I know that I've been away for a while. And yeah, let me know if you guys are excited for the April patch, because I know I am. More quality of life, it'll be great. Anyways, see you guys next time. Talk to you later. Have your good day or night wherever you are. Bye-bye.